Welcome to this basic airsoft guide. Within this piece we'll be looking at some of the advantages and disadvantages, we'll be looking at some of the game styles, and we'll be looking at the safety instructions.
What do you think the advantages and disadvantages of airsoft are?
The advantages and disadvantages. Well, the advantages, I suppose like any sport, which it's now classed as, is that it will teach you some form of safety and discipline. You have to know what you're doing, you have to know how to use the equipment. If you don't, you're not going to be able to find yourself playing on very many sites, because they will throw you off, because they're very safety conscious. It teaches you spatial awareness, because you do need to be aware of what's going on around you to play the game. You can't just bimble around.
Advantages: it's a good way of getting outside. A lot of people are stuck at a desk all day. It's a brilliant way of not being stuck inside. It's good fun. It's another excuse to go up the pub with people. Disadvantages: probably that it's not well known enough. It is an official sport, but so few people know about it, it doesn't get as much recognition as paintball, which is the more well-known version of combat sport. Well, Airsoft has got a couple of main styles. You've got woodland, which is outdoors, long range, and you've got CQB, which is close quarters battle, inside buildings, bunkers, that sort of thing. I'm quite happy in either setting, but if I had to pick one, it's probably woodland, as I'm normally a marksman, a sharpshooter, giving covering fire, sniping people, generally being hated by the other team.
Game style. When I first started, which is 10 years ago now, it was mostly field, outside. You have two types. You have woodland, you have CQB. Woodland is going through the woods, fields, long distances. You need a long arm to actually really do anything. You have to have the range. You're shooting at long distances, wide open field. I actually prefer CQB now. Going through the buildings, clearing out rooms, it's very much in your face. Very more intense is probably the best way to describe it. If you're not physically fit, you are going to suffer, because it does involve a lot of running around, a lot of manual physical work.
Do you feel that sports like airsoft, paintball could contribute towards violent crimes?
It's like everything, really. People used to blame violent crimes on a Nintendo game. It's not so much the sport itself, it's the person that's committing the crime. If they're violent by nature, they're going to commit a violent act. Just because they happen to be running around with an airsoft gun the week before doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go. That's the reason why they went out and shot someone or stabbed someone. It's down to the nature of the person.
Can you give us some of the general safety instructions they usually give at the beginning of a game?
Safety. First and foremost, eye protection 100% of the time that you're playing. You don't take it off for any reason whatsoever, because an airsoft gun will damage your eye and blind you if you get shot. That simple. Other than that, you've got no loaded weapons outside of the game area. When you're transporting your equipment, it's got to be completely covered so that you don't give the police the wrong idea. We've had a few run-ins with the police where people have reported airsoft for being other activities, and at that point you've got to act with a lot of common sense. The main rule is don't be an idiot, basically. Treat everyone with respect and everyone has fun.
You must always wear eye protection, because, well, if you take a BB to the eye from an airsoft gun, there is a very good chance it will blind you. You're not allowed in the play area without eye protection. You're not allowed to have a loaded gun in the safe zone or outside the play area. Guns can only be loaded and fired in the designated play areas. With eye protection, They do recommend full face masks because, to be honest, you can lose teeth if you're too close.
When playing a game, is there any particular way of figuring out who's been shot and who hasn't?
Airsoft completely relies on the honesty of the other player to make the game work. If you're not playing fairly, everyone's going to have a bad day. There are marshals that do actually keep track of the game and try and police it, but it's not like paintball where you get covered in paint. You've got to trust the other person to actually take the hit fairly.
When you get hit, what do you have to do?
Stick your hand in the air and shout really loudly that you're hit. Depending on the game, you either then get to walk back to your start point or stand there and hope one of your teammates can get to you to get you back in the game.